here I am. I'm this infinite, eternal soul that has had many, many, many lives and many, many, many experiences. But my head is this big, and I need more omega-3, and I need more salt water, and I've just started moving into the new consciousness like all of us have. And I don't have the all-knowing overview. I know it's a surprise, but I don't, right? And you heard it here. And the thing is, it's on tape too, darn. But I know who does. So I don't necessarily have to know the answer. What I have to do is ask, connect to source, which is absolute love, truth, and healing. Ask for healing to come into being, and focus on this of being my intent. I want to evolve as fast as I can into what I really am. So the answers and the solutions to my problem are going to come through the application of love. In other words, the answer to my problem is going to meet all of those criteria. So let's work this a little bit. God's saying to work this a little bit differently in terms of let's apply it to something else. So say let's apply it to something else, because then we can bridge from story to story. Say I'm having a dispute with my neighbor, and I'm needing to solve it, and two of us are having an issue with something. The solution that is truly loving, that allows the most healing to occur, is one in which both my needs and my neighbor's get met, right? So nobody gets harmed, and both of our needs get met. And so in order to be truly loving, that's what I want to do, is create a solution where both of our needs get met and no harm is caused to any other living thing. Sometimes I can't think of that solution immediately on my own, but I can connect to source and try to bring that message through. If I'm afraid I can't get the message, I have a very simple definition to at least start gearing my solutions toward that I have in my hand. So before anybody says, well, I don't hear God or whatever, I want you to know that this is a tool that you can use that puts you more in alignment with possibly hearing the creative source to solve the problem. Is if you know that you have to solve the problem in a way that encompasses the needs of all involved and doesn't cause any harm to any living thing, that kind of narrows the field in choices, right? So I'll give you a nice practical example. I'm working with a wonderful, wonderful woman in Saskatchewan, and I think I've even showed this example before. And she raises cattle, and she had some very poor land. So she had some land that was not very productive in terms of its ability to produce appropriate feed. And so she was having less cattle on her land than she felt comfortable with. She wanted to have more cattle on her land for the financial end of it. But she wanted happy cows. You know, she wanted well-fed cows. She didn't want to do a bad job of it. She's trying to gain a reputation in a pretty competitive industry. So she had attended a workshop where we talked about love and different things, and she asked me to mentor them in terms of what they were going to do with this land, because she wanted to co-create a truly loving solution, because she knew that only through co-creating a truly loving solution would all needs get met. And she knew she wasn't hearing the whole thing. So we started talking about what is her desire. Her desire is to have happy cows. If she has happy cows, she'll have happy farmers who will bring more cows to her. She'll have more money. She'll have an easier life. That's all win-win-win, right? What's the problem? The land is not producing enough feed to have enough cows, right? So what are some solutions you can do? Oh, we can spray Roundup on it and reseed it. We can, and so on and so forth. So there's all these different solutions. Now, right away, because she wants to make a loving solution, and love never causes harm, she immediately knows she can't round up the land and kill it. She has to toss that complete thing out. Whereas coming from Saskatchewan, where they use lots of pesticide, it was actually on her list. Well, we can round up it and we can replant it. And I said, what does love do? It never causes harm to any living thing. Yeah, she's crossing it off, right? She ended up, this is what happened, because she's opening the door now, step by laboring step, as we're sitting around a table, crossing things off a paper. She's opening the door to love. What happens then is she asks, we go to bed with a list of what she can't do, and a list of what she wants, no solution on it. She goes to bed and she gets up the next morning and she opens up the Western Producer magazine, and there's an article in it about a new kind of cedar that they're just launching in the United States. So she reads about it, she contacts the company, there's a message, like it happened this quick. She contacts the company, They have this cedar that you can plant native plants into and seed them right into soil without disturbing it. So, and it's very affordable. So she's like, there's a solution. And they can afford it, or they can save up towards the river. So she buys this piece of equipment. In the meantime, she meets somebody who knows all about native pastures, who comes out and shows her how to take soil samples with a dandelion digger, and she drives them into Saskatoon, which is 20 minutes away, to the university, and has it analyzed, and it tells her what the soil is lacking. Then she spends some time looking on the internet to see what plants have that, what the soil is lacking, that produce that, right? So soil sometimes needs more nitrogen, you plant rye, that's the kind of thing. It's easy to get that kind of information from an agricultural division of a university. So she does that all online. She gets the cedar, she plants this pasture beautifully into native plants. Sometimes they went out to the ditch and pulled up the shoots and just moved them into because they'd sprayed it at some point in time, right? So they have this beautiful pasture. So what starts to happen is this pasture starts to get very healthy and the grass is getting thicker, and when she can finally put cattle on it and they go out there, they head to specific plants and are eating them like crazy because they're needing them. Not only is she now got the 80 cows, the extra 80 cows she's got, but she has jobs coming in for people hiring her with the cedar. Never expected that income, right? So we're at this line. Love only loves, and in so doing creates more love. Because she was interested in choosing a loving solution. Now look at the ripple effects that are happening. And all she did was decide, I can't cause harm, I have to follow this definition. It was hard work. She pulled out of maybe 3. We made a lot of phone calls. But we have a tremendous solution that harms no living thing. In fact, she now has another 40 cows because the land will support it. It's a solution that is only about love. So we see how practically applied that is. I mean, I know we're not in an agriculture setting, but it's a really tangible, understandable definition of once we choose that we're going to meet all needs and never cause harm and follow a definition of love, we are in the phase of growing something that can grow beyond what we ever could have thought of on our own, right? Because now we're focusing our intent, and we're focusing it in the absolute truth of the universe. How can you go on? It can only heal. It can only love. It can only do this. Right? It can only do this. This is all that can happen. It's all that can happen with love.
That's a great example.
It's very well illustrated.
I know, but what I'm thinking of is in the office when you have lots of egos going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real challenge.
It is a real challenge, but I have to tell you, it won't get better if somebody doesn't give in and start love. It will just continue to be egos. One of the things that we have to remember when we look at this definition is that yes. I'm standing here in the spotlight. Is that this is the definition of what love is supposed to be, but we aren't there yet, none of us. So we begin by being compassionate for the other people with egos or whatever's going on there and issues, because they're still in a place where they're evolving into love, right? As soon as we know our purpose and we start applying that, we can't necessarily make other people respond to it. They may not join us in this definition. However, we've extended the invitation and somebody is taking it up. So our output of love into the universe is more likely to heal people that can't be there yet than not joining in that way. So as soon as we have a tool that is about truth, we need to start applying it to our actions and interactions with everyone. And some people will respond to it because it's love. Some people will not be ready to respond to it, but it still cannot change what we are doing. When I was a child, I had a very big altercation on the playground, and people have shared little stories about my childhood, so it's kind of like interesting. But I did have an altercation on the playground where a teacher, actually I was in grade 7, so it wasn't really on the playground, it was more like hanging out behind the back door of the school, right? where a girl who was consistently picked on in the school was being picked on, and a teacher observed, because the teacher didn't like her either, right? So everybody's picking on this girl, and I got into the fray and defended it and put a stop to it. And not only did I put a stop to it, but when the teacher came up to me and said, "What is all this ruckus about?" I said, "It is because a 12-year-old is doing your job, and you should be ashamed." Right? So I was in the hot seat. But the interesting thing was that she knew that what was going on. She said to me at that moment, she said, "You had better learn how to fit into this world, or you're going to have a lot of problems." And I said, "I have no intentions of fitting into this world. If it means I'm going to behave like you just did." Right? I'm not here to fit, I'm here to change it. This is unacceptable. That's what I said. Now, I spent the whole week avoiding her, or the whole year, avoiding her class and being in the bathroom, right? Because she made my life heck. But it was truth, what I said. Absolutely, every word of it. And at that moment, I realized that I was actually articulating the point of being here, which is, I'm not fitting into that if it's not love. I didn't know that at the time. I just knew this was not working and it was not acceptable. And that people in a sense of responsibility for it have command of the energy of it. So if I choose every day to say, I am going to be love, I am holding the highest energy it is possible to hold, because I am holding the energy of the entire universe, what its purpose is. Now, I'm not there yet, right? But I'm aspiring to it. And at every moment, I reaffirm to myself, I am love. We are love, our creative source is love. I am love, therefore I'm going to be love. Sometimes it's going to be painful to do. Sometimes it's going to be hard. Sometimes I'm not going to know how. But I will be this. If I deviate, I ask for healing, and I ask for how to correct that for next time, because I'm an evolutionary being. I want to, so I'm not perfect, but I'm striving towards it. I don't spend a lot of time beating myself up. I go back into it and say, where did this go wrong? Where did I not hang on to my intent? Because I'm the weak link here, right? I'm the one that isn't understanding. So what was in the way? What do we need to heal so that I don't have this happen again, right? And sometimes it happens a few times and then finally I get it, you know, or sometimes I get it right away, or sometimes I don't even get out of step. We're in evolution as long as we're forming this intent. Now we can form that intent, and because our intent is that we are going to be what we were created to be in alignment with the universe, now we can be the dominant energy in the office if we work with that long enough. So that when you are present, nobody fights, right? This is what has happened to so many people that are saying, like, and how many of you are already experiencing this? You go to work or you go to a scenario and somebody says to you, I love when you come. We have such a great day when you're here. That's because you're holding the energy. And your energy is one that is of peace or love or acceptance, or we don't act that way now. So we are capable of holding the energy. We are capable of setting an energy and holding it. When we align ourselves with the truth of what the universe is, we're in alignment with Source, and we are holding the strongest energy. So it's simply as simple as reaffirming to ourselves at all times, I am love, I will be love, I will be a vessel of Source healing and intention, which is absolute love at every moment, and I will hold the vibration. So in holding that, and in being that way, you can stand and ask Source to come through, and you can be standing in a grocery store, you still might get a rude teller. You know, it might happen, but I'm not going to be rude in return. It's pretty hard to when I'm filling the space with Source, right? This is a tool that Sue's been sharing with people that she knows to bring Source through and fill the space with Source. It's pretty hard to be miserable ourselves because we're busy, we're doing something else, or we're concentrating on something else. So it's an evolutionary process.